Hey Capricorn, welcome to Catalyst Energies and welcome to your weekly astrology forecast. We're looking at the week of December 26th, which is Sunday of 2021, to our Capricorn new moon, which is going to be our first new moon of 2022, which is going to be on the 2nd of January. So welcome everyone. Thanks for being here. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. So Capricorn, out of all of the signs, your transformation at a fundamentally identity level is providing the template for the rest of us. And of course, Capricorn, you're the boss, right? You're the boss, you're the ruler, you're the leader, you're the chief, you're the provider, you are the judge, right? This is in your very nature in terms of your persona and how you identify yourself to the world. So for you to be going through these massive transformations in your identity, it is inseparable really from what we're all going through socially. So it's a good thing that you are who you are, because this is incredibly destabilizing to go through these kinds of experiences. And we have some just massive astrology for this weekend. So we're going to look at that. And there is a whole report that is available to go through the specifics of all of these really important transits. We're in this video, Capricorn, we're just going to look at the areas of your chart that these transits are going to impact, and maybe expand just a little bit on how this might unfold for you, the how you could translate these things, and just to get a sense of maybe a narrative framework for what you may be experiencing. Because like I said, what Capricorn is going through in terms of transformation of their very identity is a microcosm for the rest of us. And being that you are a leader, it's a good thing, because the very nature of who you are has to change in order to fit into where we're all collectively going. And so the nature of ruling, the nature of leadership, the nature of power of the material realm all has to be re-examined, and is going through a massive metamorphosis because of Pluto's transit of Capricorn. So there are, like I said, just incredible transits just over the weekend. We haven't even gotten to the 26th. And that's going to be the moon in Libra and the sun in your first house that are going to come into a square with each other. So most of the energy for Capricorn is, with the exception of the moon right now and Mars at the time being in your 12th house, it's all at the bottom of your chart. It is all in the area that has to do with you as an individual consciousness or an individual personality developing, growing, learning, expressing itself, and starting to find a routine or a set of habits in life. So, and your service to the world. So there's a lot of focus on who you are, and not so much focus on who you are in the context of your binding agreements and relationships, other than Saturn now is in your 12th house, really kind of fulfilling its warrior role in the house of endings, right? Mars is here to help give you the impetus and the kick in the ass now to really start cleaning up some residual karma, tying up loose ends, and really with this trine to Chiron on Christmas Day, or the 25th, is really the infusion of courage and bravery and ambition to heal some very intimate and deep wounding in the realm of home and family of origin, and in your personal intimate life and your inner life, through Antares, right? Mars will be in conjunction on the 25th with Antares. So this is an incredible moment, Capricorn, to capitalize, which is exactly what you do as a person, is to capitalize on this incredibly potent healing moment to realize what it is in a spiritual sense, in your karmic residue, in your ancestral lineage, in the collective's karma, because that's the 12th house as well. But to not only have the bravery and courage to take on and project the heart of the Scorpion, which is what Antares as a fixed star, it's in the heart of the Scorpion, in the Scorpio constellation, and then to find a base or a foundation with Chiron in Aries that is, if you can handle the forcefulness and the almost definitely assertive, but maybe even aggressive sting of the truth in terms of a spiritual and cosmic consciousness, it will absolutely infuse your inner life, your personal life, your home and family heritage that has been a sticking point for you and your inner child, your wounded healer, your victim mentality, all of the Chiron themes, but in the very area of life that has to do with where you draw your power from, your personal power, and where your root system really is. This is going to be very difficult for everybody, and to be happening on a holiday like Christmas. I mean, especially for Capricorn, considering that, there's so much energy in your first house. It's Capricorn season in general. And then home and family a lot of times does reference like your home and family of origin. So either returning back to that place for the holidays, perhaps you are with your own family, or in your own personal life, your spiritual family, whoever these people are, or this scenario is, and the inner life. This is where you have experienced consistently this inner child wounding and trauma that is an overlay onto a pureness of being. And that's where you really draw your power, Capricorn, is in this pureness of being, the potency and desire to actualize yourself. Now, Capricorn person is going to really feel a lot of responsibility for the most part for those they are charged with, and with also they know what it takes to get things done. And so there's a lot of responsibility that goes along with that identity as well. And so but you have to be yourself in any given moment, which is what Aries truly represents, in order to draw your power. And something has been nagging you, overlaid, some sort of trauma that is emotional in nature. It is inner life in nature. It is incredibly sensitive in nature that really wants to be released, and the spiritual realm. So you may find this spiritual warrior energy, or just the bravery to go into the realm of the limitless and infinite potential. You might find this coming through dream state, trance state, meditation, prayer, like fervent prayer. It's going to come through and in a stinging way. So that's one of the main ones that is coming through for Capricorn. Of course, this chart is ruled by Saturn as a Capricorn. So the square to Uranus is substantial for all of us. This is also exact on the 24th, very early in the morning. It's been building now for days, and it has just been so aggravating. These two are natural foes because one is the backbone and the other is the blip out of physical reality, the awakening aspect, the collective third eye, if you want to look at it that way. So to have these two square each other anyway is just like a battle of titans, essentially, right? Kronos and Prometheus, right? One eats his children and the other gave fire to humanity out of some sort of charity, I guess. But this is a big battle, and you are Saturn ruled. So Saturn in your second house, this is about your resources, like yours, your wealth, your assets, your objective reality, what you own. So this is your literal currency, your literal assets, your body, and also your traditions, the ancestry you come from, your own DNA. And so to have your chart ruler be situated here for a while now, and to be squaring Uranus, I mean, it's anchoring you into what is. And in a way that's very authority based. It's very structured. It's very much related to who you are, but it's in the realm of who you are is very anchored into the world around you, the physical world and your resources. What is yours? This is going to be important when we think about and talk about this up here, this moon in Leo that is opposite Jupiter at the same time and creating a grand square, which is something that a Capricorn person actually is not unfamiliar with. This is the form of structure and power. In the tarot, the Four of Pentacles is very much the sun in Capricorn. It is power of the fortress. So when most people run away screaming from the square in a grand square in a chart, the Capricorn is just like, yep, that's exactly what I need. I need structure and form. I am structure and form. And so it's very anchored into the world around you, so much that if it meets Uranus that wants to be free, that wants to think outside of the box, it wants to change perspective, it wants to innovate, maybe revolutionize, right? It's really the crisis and radical reorientation that allows us to wake up. That's Uranus. If you are too entrenched into the physical, material, asset realm, Capricorn, which you are, because Saturn is here, when it meets Uranus, if you are not allowing for your heart to have some freedom in expression, your heart to be able to open, if you do not allow some freedom for a variety of perspectives in terms of your joy and where your passion really finds itself, this is going to be very destructive. It's going to be very disorienting for everybody, and it's been building, and it's just going to be exact right in less than 12 hours, really. So, but for you in particular, your voice needs to be you're like scrolling through potential realities when it comes to how you express yourself, how your voice is authentically expressed to the world. And you're not making any decisions yet. And in fact, like I said, you're kind of internalized, scrolling through all of these options and not really settling on anything because there's nothing to settle on, because it keeps changing, because that's what Uranus does. It's not based in reality, which is interesting for Taurus because it will have an impact on the material world. But for you in particular, or if you're dating, the fifth house is very much about dating. Maybe you haven't settled on any one type of partner. Maybe you haven't settled on any one type of creative outlet, and you are just kind of living in this awakened potential all the time. But if you are too embedded in the material world and not allowing for some flexibility here at all, Uranus will find it regardless. Because at the end of the day, even though Saturn is like the wall of time and space, it's not the end of the line. It's Uranus. And I think Uranus might actually, even though Saturn's very strong for you, I think Uranus is still going to win and will find its way of expressing itself. It will. And so lighten up a little, Capricorn. That's what I'm going to say, especially around the holidays. Like, you don't have to commit to any one creative outlet or expression, but you also know that like the very nature of who you are is embedded and grounded in the world around you, and in a way that actually values the diversity of progression of where we all are, and which I think is really important for all of us. But there's such a potential for Capricorn to really make this into like a real eruption, or even kind of like, I hate to say a psychotic break, but it's not that. It's definitely not that. So don't take it too literally. It's just that it will, if the Kundalini is suppressed when it's ready to expand or to, move, it will find its way, and its way is not necessarily in the the realm of wall of time and space, which is really hard for Capricorn to get out of, especially because it's so embedded in the world around you or in your assets. You have to kind of let go of what you think is, in order to be able to have the freedom to innovate or to revolutionize your own voice. And this is very important for you because you are going through massive change at a subjective identity level. Venus in her retrograde is coming back to meet Pluto on the same day, on the 25th. So Mars and Chiron on the 25th, Venus and Pluto on the 25th. On the 24th is Saturn and Uranus. And also on the 24th is the moon in your 8th house, opposite Jupiter. Now Jupiter is going to come into your 3rd house, and it's going to be a sigh of relief. And for you in particular, there's going to be so much expansion of meaning into your immediate cognitive reality. Okay, Jupiter rules your 12th house. So I get a strong Hierophant high priest vibe in terms of your everyday conversations, in terms of your text messaging, your emails, your DMs, right? Your conversations with people at work or in your household, or in your neighborhood, right? It's the function of it's how your nervous system functions and your cognition functions is your 3rd house. Learning, language, grammar, practicing, technical skill, all of these things. There is going to be such an expansion of meaning, and you kind of like stepping into this minute. You're almost going to be like ministering to those right around you, or even just in terms of the way that your mind is going to be functioning. It's going to expand into so much more meaning when that happens. But in the meantime, it's still about resources. And the moon in the 8th house, at this last degree of Leo, something will be unsealed within you, in your emotions, in your subconscious, and either in terms of your binding agreements themselves or in terms of the binding agreement you have with just being alive. What you produce in those relationships is the 8th house, the shared resources. Something is unsealing for all of us. And for you, it's going to be in the realm of the subconscious, the power dynamics, and the occult, right? And what is often hidden and in the shadows. You probably won't necessarily see it, but you will definitely feel this opening and this unsealing in an emotional way, in ultimately the truth of the power dynamics that are created when you are in relationship. And this is like an accounting. It's an accounting because it's literally taking inventory based on, and like an audit. That's what I wanted to say. It's like an audit, and you're going to feel it. And Jupiter is, been managing your resources this whole time, and everything about that situation, you're going to come to an awareness of everything that you have and the potential of it, the meaning of it, and then you're going to take it right into your immediate environment of language learning, communication, and short-term travel, and provide some real meaning and some guidance to other people and to just your communications in general. But it's going to come from this incredible grand square that's not only that, but is also the nodal axis before it shifts into Taurus and Scorpio. So still in Gemini and Sagittarius. So, at a soul level, you have been really drawn, Capricorn, to institute the realm of empirical data and research and reason and discovery and thinking and writing and all of the ways that we work with mutable air energy, or the dialectic of Gemini. It's been a practice that you've felt drawn to start instituting, right? Either like writing or journaling or researching. I think Capricorn has been doing a lot of research, honestly, and making it a practice and a discipline. And you've been driven, you've been pulled at a soul level to do this. And the square with this particular grand square, again, the Capricorn person is going to be like, give me a structure to fit into, please. This will allow me to know exactly where I stand, where everything is angled, and I can find myself within it, which is going to be probably easier for Capricorn, I would say, than most other signs, just because of the nature of the geometry and the nature of Capricorn. But, there's just been a lot of research that's been done, and maybe you are not quite ready to come out of that stage, or you may find that what is unsealed at that level, is you don't, we're really being tasked right now to stay open to receive what we have set out to explore or to discover. And the unsealing of the truth down under the surface there may be really hard for you in terms of everything, all the energy and time and practice and devotion that you've put in, discipline you've put into researching and really researching your mind, researching and disciplining your mind, right? And this could just like throw it all, potentially could just like break down into some sort of, again, there is such a potential for Capricorn because of the nature of who you are that having like a really strong meltdown could very well be here. But at the same time, this would also provide some, it's the structure in which to find your stability. And so you just lean into all of these squares because it's so familiar to the Capricorn nature of what this represents. So when we look at the 26th, when we get to the actual square of the Libra moon and the Capricorn sun, and we'll go a couple hours forward, and we'll have, there we go. That's close enough. And I want to make sure that we're still recording and you can see this. Yes. So this is technically the beginning of the fourth quarter for all of us, is the 26th. So what you're going to find here is, for Capricorn, you want to be thorough. And you want to make sure everything is stacked, everything is accounted for, right? You're going through an audit, in especially Capricorn, which is, again, you're talking about business and being a boss and just the nature of being responsible for large infrastructure. And you as a person are just, that's the person you are, and you present that person to the world. And so, but it also means that you are very, you want to make sure that when it comes to your transformation, when it comes to your identity and your persona, that everything is taken care of, and you don't cross the threshold into the next phase until you know that everything is stacked up and ready to go. This is where you're really going to find your expression. And sun in the first house is just, you're just shining. And so again, here's this example here of shining, of just like it's, everything needs to be accounted for, and that's the responsible thing to do. Now, the square and the third quarter square, so it's a crisis of consciousness, is with the moon in your 10th house, which is the Capricorn house of your career and your contribution and your mission. Capricorn people are so mission oriented, and it's very much of the nature of Libra, which is justice and balance, right? That's your contribution. So if you are a judge, then your contribution or your mission or your destiny is to apply your knowledge of the law to find balance or justice. So the moon here in this position square to the sun at this point is going to highlight the tension with how you feel, which is you're starting to feel a need to visualize where this is going, what your contribution, what your mission is. And you know that you have to visualize it in order to actually bring it into form at some point. But you as a person and the way that you are expressing yourself and where you're finding your sustainment is to be a lot more patient, a lot more thorough, and to make sure that you as a person are all accounted for and everything is stacked up before you move on to the next phase. And so you can see how there would be a tension with this more elusive feeling about visualizing the next phase or visualizing what your contribution is can be in the next phase. And so you just have to lean into it. And just be like, it's not that they're mutually exclusive. It's just that these two aspects of how you feel on the inside and how we express ourselves on the outside are going to like cause tension because they are going in different directions. And that's okay. It's okay to realize, and we want to realize how important it is. And we're all going to feel this in different areas of our lives. It's just for Capricorn, it's very much about the identity of who you are and then your mission, which is a very Capricorn type of thing. You have to be able to visualize it in order to see it come to fruition. But you don't want to jump the gun, and you certainly don't want to cross the threshold until everything is accounted for in your persona. And I think that that's going to be very evident anyway after the weekend, but more so for Capricorn. So when we go a week from here, I just want to show you, take a note here of where everything is as we go to the new moon. And there'll be plenty of information to cover this stuff, like I said, on the general astrology report, and then also throughout the week to really kind of, check in on a regular basis. But the new moon is in Capricorn, so you'll find an opportunity to set intentions around, I don't want to say it's not the worship of fire, but the reverence and the honoring and the example that fire represents to us as the ability to transcend the cycle of life and death, because fire in and of itself represents these two stages that are simultaneous, because the death part is the fact that something needs to be consumed in order for fire to burn, which is some sort of organic fuel, right? A fuel, a hydrocarbon or wood, right? Something has to burn. But in the burning and the burning of the fuel and the consumption of that substance, something new is created or reborn, which is the fire. It's in the catalyzing reaction that eventually leads to alchemy. So for Capricorn, it's going to be very much about acknowledging, looking at this, and really setting intentions around, I'm going to grow inside and out over the next 4 weeks in my very subjective persona, by way of the transcending example of fire. Because fire, I mean, we're all gonna have this experience with the fire, right? And for Capricorn, again, right down to the very basics of who you actually are. But this is very powerful, because by the time we get to February, you may find that when the next new moon cycle starts in Aquarius, and you see now that Mercury is in Aquarius at this point, and Jupiter is now moved into Pisces, and the moon is back down in the bottom of your chart as well. There's going to be some time here, Capricorn, where you are, again, feeling into some of these changes that took place the week prior in all of these areas as a result of all of these transits. And you can see that Jupiter is going to be in a T-square to the nodal axis. And this is very much kind of like, if you remember the Clash of the Titans, or a number of stories, right? The invisibility cloak. This is going to be our invisibility cloak that we get, that it allows us to camouflage ourselves in the midst of our karmic soul's journey. Still, it's we'll get more into that after the new moon, because it is happening at the same time, but there's so much. I can't keep going into all of it. I just want to give you some insight into what areas, Capricorn, that you are likely to experience some of these monumental transits. So I'm going to leave it there for you, Capricorn. So I hope you're doing well. If you have a sun in Capricorn, happy birthday and happy solar return. If you are interested in a reading, getting more information, supporting this work through Subscribestar, you can check out everything in the description box, and you certainly can stick around at the end of this video to get more information. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you on the next report. Bye, Capricorn.